Hey everyone, welcome once again to yet another live stream on Hack This Falls YouTube channel. And today, guess what? We have Eddie joining us. I know you all have been waiting like since long for this particular live stream, and so am I. And I can already see the excitement in the chat. You all are like full of energy, full of enthusiasm, keeping that countdown coming in, guessing what's gonna happen in this particular live stream, and so much more around the same as well. So keep your favorite emojis, kindly drop your favorite emojis, show your excitement in the chat, and meanwhile, let me welcome you all. So thanks everyone for joining in. Let me tell what Hack This Fall is all about. It's a 48 hours virtual hackathon that we are coming up with. The dates are 22nd to 24th of October. There are a lot of things in store for everyone, be it learning, speaker sessions, mentorship, prizes, swags, and whatnot. So make sure you register for the hackathon. We have already crossed 1500 registrations and the community is super thriving. So I'm sure you do not want to miss this opportunity because I don't want you to do that. Awesome. That was enough from me. Let me quickly invite Eddie onto the stage without wasting any of your time. Hey Eddie, how's it going? Welcome.
Hi Siddharth, thank you so much for having me here. I am super excited about today.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for joining us for the first place. I know you joined us for the season 1 as well, and I'm super excited to host you once again in our season 2, which is like on next level.
I have seen so many improvements, like, you took your learnings from version 1 and you've made version 2 better, just like, software development. So it's great. It's really awesome to see it evolve and grow, and everyone's working so hard, and I can see the community growing and they're all geeking out in the chat. So everyone, say hi to me in the chat. You already have done already. What a warm welcome from all of you. So thank you so much. It is just, super fun to be here. If you're interested in open source, write open source in the chat, and obviously give this channel a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and support the great work they're doing at Hack4.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, the community has been super helpful, super collaborating at the same time as well. And we definitely can't wait to, just get started with this particular session. Everyone, write hashtag open source, greet each other and welcome each other, which you are already doing. Meanwhile, people do this thing, let's start with your introduction, Eddie. I know many of us already are aware about what you do, what are the great things you are doing for the community, but let's formally introduce yourself as well.
Sure, thank you. Well, today I'm actually wearing my GitHub Star hoodie. It's the first time I think I actually wear it on a live stream or video. And so I'm super excited to give me extra kind of powers to geek out with you on positive vibes. So yeah, my name's Eddie. I'm a GitHub Star, and I won GitHub Star of the Year. That was like 1 out of like 55 or 65 million people on GitHub. So I'm super still excited and still so shocked by it. And geeking out with you all is the highlight of my day, week, and month. So this is great. I love doing it. And I founded EddieHub. So if you want to geek out and continue to learn more about open source and freelancing and web development and digital nomad, then I'm in chapter in our Discord. Follow me on YouTube, and I'm sharing my knowledge all the time. And on Twitter, I love sharing behind the scenes. I'm really open and transparent about it. What else to say? I've been a software engineer for over 15 years. I started in open source over 10 years ago. There was no GitHub and Git back then when I started, so it was very different. But now we're lucky. We have GitHub, a social platform for coding and for everything else in addition to coding, which we're going to go into. And hackathons have exploded, and there's so many online now, so you can participate from wherever you are in the world, which I think is just epic. It's really good. I get to meet all you amazing people, which I couldn't have done before. So thank you very much to the Hackful organizers and all the other hackathon organizers as well, because it is great. I feel the world in a good way has got smaller, and that's just been so fun. And I'm just looking forward to Hacktoberfest coming up in a few days, where people can win even more swags. We'll be doing more giveaways for Hacktoberfest and EdiHub as well. Lots of GitHub swags as well. And looking forward to geeking out with everyone on open source projects and so forth. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, definitely. Wonderful introduction. And as Mrinank has mentioned, Eddie doesn't need any introduction. That is for sure.
Thanks.
We all know Eddie, we all are like super big fan of Eddie's. And don't forget to join Eddie Hub as well, one of the most inclusive and collaborative communities. I've been, fortunate enough to be part of that. The links are there in the description. Make sure you join over there as well. And yes, Hacktoberfest is coming. I'm wearing Hacktoberfest tea today just to promote it in
Nice.
a more better way. But yeah, let's get started. Eddie, the virtual stage is all yours. Uh, Guide us with
Awesome.
everything you have got.
Awesome. So I'm going to do my best to keep up with the chat, because the chat is going so fast. So Siddharth, you'll have to kind of probably jump in and help me out if I miss anything. So let's talk about what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about why collaboration is important, how to plan your hackathon project for success, how you can use GitHub to win hackathons and impress potential employers. Yes, so many people have got jobs from hackathons, and I think that's really important, and from open source. But you've heard me say that 100 times, so I don't think I need to say that again. But also from hackathons, which I think is really, really important. And now with so many hackathons online, why not make the world smaller for you and let people come to you rather than you applying for all these jobs? Let them chase you. Then you have the upper hand to negotiate remote or location or price or whatever you want it to be. So a bit of housekeeping. If you want to go use the toilet, go down the hall, it's on the left. I'm joking. I never get tired of that joke. I love that joke. I'm really sorry. But I hope you've all got some water next to you. I haven't. I have to shout to Sarah in a bit to get me something. But I love Q&A, and I really believe it's important. So have your questions ready. Please ask as we go along, and I'll try to see them in the chat. If I miss them, then please just write them again. Hopefully Siddharth catches it as well. If there are no questions, it's not because I've done a good job, it's because I was boring and you all fell asleep. So please ask questions, because that really, really helps. And like I said, I'm gonna try and keep up with the chat, but it's going so fast, I don't know if I'll do a good job. But I'll do my best to answer, and we'll get to them at the end. So we'll have questions at the end, but I wanna do it as we go along as well. What else? Okay, so do support this event, as I mentioned before, by giving it a thumbs up. And also you can grow your community and network and your followers on social by taking a screenshot of this live stream, sharing it on socials, and tagging Hackful and tagging me and Siddharth. And if you include some value, if you add some tips, then we will reshare it. But if you just say, hey, great live stream, then we will definitely like it. But I really want to reshare it and help you grow your network. So include something that you learned today, and we will reshare it, because they don't add value to our community, and then they can come and follow you and discover you as well. Do chat to people in the chat as well. Answer it. If someone asks a question, I don't want you just to have my answer. I want you to have answers from each other, because we're talking today about collaboration and communication. So do chat between each other. I think it is really, really important to get different perspectives. I think that's really important. Do put a Q in front of your questions, so I'd less likely to miss it. I already spoke a bit about me, so I'm not going to talk about me. Let's skip over that and see. But one thing I do want to quickly say is my goal is to get more people into open source, so you can get the clients, jobs, money that you all deserve. You're here, so you're already way ahead of most people, so keep going. And I want to talk really briefly about some of my regrets. I mean, I regret not getting into open source and sharing my learnings publicly sooner. So whatever you learn today, share it. Not just for me. If you're working on a side project or you're getting ready for Hacktoberfest and you learn something, please share it on socials. It will help you become a better communicator, help you grow your community and so forth. And so those two are one of my regrets. So Hacktoberfest is coming, get involved in that. Don't make the mistakes that I made. Okay. So let's get started. Let's dig straight in, and let me have a quick look at the chat. Have I missed something? I probably missed loads of stuff. I love all the support in the chat. Thank you all so much. I'm going to do a section, and I'm going to come back to the chat. So No successful project is done by a single person. It is done by many people who have different skills, different backgrounds. This is why we always talk about, being diverse. Having a diverse team is really important. And to get that, you need to be inclusive, which is why, EdiHub focuses on inclusion. And you need to bear in mind that people are probably in different time zones. They might speak different languages, and you've got to, keep that in mind. So these people need to collaborate. And as I mentioned, communication is so important. And open source and hackathons can help with this, and they can also help with the hackathons and open source. So it's kind of this like circle, like you get better at hackathons and open source, your communication gets better. Your communication gets better, your open source and hackathons get better. So it just keeps getting better and better all the time. But to win, you need to keep improving all the time. And it's not just about winning swag. I mean, you win by just attending these events, attending this live stream. Hopefully you'll learn something, meet some new people. And like I said, by chatting in the chat, people are going to recognize your name, which is why I always say it's important to have the same username and profile picture across social platforms. So when you chat with somebody else on a different platform, they can recognize you and go, oh yeah, that was that great person. They made a great point. Let me engage with them and chat with them more, or invite them to a hackathon, invite them to my team. But it's, the swag is a small part, but it's definitely part of the fun and a short-term motivator. The long-term is, like I said, upskilling and getting the job or whatever it is that you want. But a hot tip that I want to quickly share is, it's not about the technology that's going to make you win. It's the team. And so that's really, really important. Focus on the team. That's how you're going to win. Like I hear so many people at hackathons. Like if you know my YouTube channel, you see I go to hackathons before the pandemic, and I would go around and chat to the teams, and I would vlog it and so forth. And the amount of teams who would say, yeah, we're building this thing, it's going to do A, B, and C, and I think we're going to win. I'm like, oh, why do you think that? Because we're using React. I'm like, okay, it doesn't make me excited. It's not going to help your project. So the technology doesn't help you win. It is the people. So let me get into how you can plan your project. And I want to start right at the beginning. But shall I read the chat? Have we had anything in the chat that I've missed? Let's have a look. We've got some good questions, like how to find teammates. Okay, let me go. I'm actually going to go into this already, so hopefully I'll cover this. If I don't, please re-ask the question again. So before you start any bit of code or anything like that, it's important to understand the hackathon challenges. There's no point you doing something that doesn't support what the challenges are at the hackathon. It might be tech for good, it could be solving a particular problem, it could be using AI or machine learning, it could be anything. So make sure you understand the hackathon's challenges. And also double check the judges' criteria. What are they looking for? Because they might not be super technical. So by saying, hey, I wrote this awesome function that uses a reduce and does all this magic, they probably won't care. So it's important to understand what the judges are looking for. And some people get into teams, I told you I was going to touch on teams, before they've even picked a project. And this can work, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying maybe try something a bit different, like, kind of test-driven development is kind of doing it back to front to make it get better. So what about throwing out your ideas out there and seeing which people are attracted to your idea? Because people work better when they really believe in the idea or the technology. And they can just believe in the technology, right? They might want to get into machine learning or AI or whatever it is. And so that might be their driver, their passion. They might not care too much about the project, but they've got a driver, they've got a passion there. Whereas some people might want that tech for good. They might want to solve that real world problem. But if you throw the idea out there and maybe some technology that you might use, don't stick to it, but just if you have some thoughts and some ideas or some libraries and frameworks, etc., like TensorFlow or whatever it is, and throw those out there as well. And people will gravitate towards one of those options, and you will work so much better as a team. So I think that's really important. Maybe try that and see how that goes. But don't be stuck to your idea. Someone will probably come along and make tweaks to it, improve on it, and then you could improve more on theirs, and the idea evolves. Okay, so how am I doing? Hopefully everyone giving me a thumbs up and all is good. You know me, I get really excited about these things. Hackathons, open source, amazing. We will get to GitHub and we'll get to a demo soon as well. Okay, So once you've got a rough idea of kind of what your North Star is, or as we say in the UK, pie in the sky idea that, you won't be able to achieve in the hackathon. Like it's not achievable, but you've got that North Star. That's what you're aiming towards. And the goal of the hackathon is not to complete your entire project. It's not possible. But the idea is to share a dream and to do technical implementation of the harder part. So you want to prove that that you're solving a problem and your solution is a good fit for that. Therefore, I would skip the bread and butter stuff. Most projects need a login and sign up form. But if you can omit this, it will probably save you time. And you won't get any extra points to say, hey, we've got login and it's got OAuth via GitHub. There's libraries and stuff for that. So I don't think that would get you any extra points. I would focus on what your project adds value to. What's the novelty? What's the new part? What's the great idea that your project solves? I think that's the important part. So focus on that. And if you get time and you can do sign up and log in, then great. But do work on the bits that add value. So how do you go about this? So you've got your project, you've got that North Star that your team's fighting towards, and like I said, you're not going to complete it, but you're going to pick certain parts that you want to do. So break down the project into features and then break it down into tasks and work on mini sprints. I think that's really important because this will encourage regular check-ins with the team and it will show the progression with your team and you'll get really it will help with morale, you'll get really motivated because you're like, oh yes, we've got this. And depending on the team, I'd probably check in every 2 hours, say. And things are changing all the time. You will probably pivot during your hackathon 1 or 2 or 3 times. And that's fine, because depending on what you learn, depending on new ideas that come in, you'll think, well, that's actually not possible. This is taking me a lot longer. Let's pivot and do something differently. I won a VR hackathon. Let me give you a concrete example. I won a VR hackathon that I've never done VR before. I've barely used VR, let alone coded a VR project. And we turned up, it's a 2-day event, and we won. We won this amazing VR kit each, everyone in the team won it. And we had this idea to do, I can't even remember the original game. It pivoted and evolved every hour. But we ended up with the stupidest, Frankenstein version of the game that ended up being, and some of you know, let me see if anyone in the chat knows, write the name in the chat. Let's see. I'm loving some Prathamesh. I've just seen your message in the chat. Modularize the project. Love that. I am coming to that in a moment. So I love the tips that everyone is sharing. So I can see some people already getting bored of the session. How long is this session going to be? I don't want to listen to Eddie anymore. Hopefully that's not what they meant. But let me see. Does anyone know what the game I'm talking about was? Headbutt Dragons. Prathamesh, you got it. Yes, it was Headbutt Dragons. But that wasn't the original game. That wasn't the original name. That wasn't anything. But the crazy thing was, we had a couple of ideas and we couldn't decide on one and we ran out of time. We couldn't even get, I don't know what you call it in VR, but we had the handheld things to kind of, meant to be guns to shoot things coming out of the wall, like this maze or whatever it was. Kind of Doom, Stroke, I don't know, lots of cross between lots of games. And we couldn't get it to work. So we thought we can't waste any more time on this, we've got to get something right. So we could only get the helmet to work and you could move around your space and you would move around in the game. Not very much, but you can move around kind of with 2 meters squared. And so we thought, why don't we have these dragons come out? Because that's what someone in the team found. They found a free asset we could use, which was dragons. And we thought, right, instead of dodging the dragons, maybe you need to collect the dragons. So we thought, right, we can't get the joystick, so you can't kind of touch things with your hand. So we just thought you'd use your head. So they'd randomly come out the wall. That's all we could do, and they'd come kind of across the game area. And you have to kind of trying to run and headbutt the dragons to catch them. So we called the game Headbutting Dragons, and we won. And this is the stupidest, simplest game ever. But everyone was addicted to it. No one could put the game. The judges spent ages playing our game, and we thought, oh my god, it's this bad, probably buggy. That's why they were doing it in a different room, glass room. You could see what they're doing, but you can't hear what they're saying. And it turned out they loved the game, and we won. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough. Okay, cool. Try and, as mentioned by Prathamesh, try and modularize things so you can run things in parallel. You don't want to block each other. You really, really don't. Time is precious. So if you are blocked, and that could happen potentially, make sure it's for a short period of time. Work on the documentation. Work on your presentation. I've seen projects that they spent more time on the presentation side and they've won because they were able to deliver, tell a story. You've got to take people on that journey. So you do need to spend quite a bit of time on the presentation. And I would probably say start on the presentation from day one. Maybe not 100% of your time, but try and have someone start putting in a skeleton structure for your presentation. And hopefully your presentation will be open source and on GitHub as well. And you could create a mono repo and you can have a folder that says presentation, you could have a folder that says backend, folder that says API, folder that says, that's the backend, front end, documentation. You kind of get the idea. And I would say don't try and start loads of features and then you end up with like 10 features that have started but none have completed. You know, try and get some features completed by good enough. I'm not saying perfect, production ready, but good enough. They need to add value, something you can demo. I think that's really, really important. And you don't have to complete the feature fully functional. So say if you want to work with a third-party API, you could mock out those calls and that data so you always get the result that you want. If that helps demo the problem you're trying to solve, then don't try and do every single integration, every feature 100%. I would try and show you them what the value add, what's the value of the project. And you can talk about it, say, hey, we've mocked this out and we've done that intentionally because we were waiting for our app to get authorized on that platform. We didn't have time, so we've mocked it out. But for example, Twitter, I think it's Twitter, that you have to get authorized. It takes like a day or two or whatever it is. So you can just mock it out that you call your own fake endpoint and it returns some tweets or something like that. So you could do that and that is fine and that is acceptable. And I want to jump into how you can get help for your hackathons. So most hackathons have mentors or subject matter experts, SMEs. And it's really important to bounce your ideas with them at an early stage. Don't go just before presentation time and go, hey, we've got this idea, what do you think? Do it as soon as you've got your kind of rough idea. Go and speak to them and get some feedback. They might have done many hackathons before. They might know the challenge you're trying to solve really, really well and be able to save you a lot of time. So I think that's really, really important. Get feedback sooner. And don't be scared about people stealing your ideas. You know, as someone once said to me before I got into open source, don't worry about someone stealing your ideas. Actually, they said the word stupid ideas. They said, don't worry about someone stealing your stupid ideas because they've got their own stupid ideas. Everyone thinks that ideas are great and everyone thinks everyone's ideas are stupid. I love everyone's ideas, but you kind of get the idea. My point is no one's going to steal it. It's fine. And you know, if you need to pivot, you want to pivot as early as possible. And you know, don't ask questions to the mentors or the subject matter experts. Should I use React or Svelte? What's going to help me win? You know, remember what I said before? Technology is not going to make your project successful. You are, and your team is. Right, before I get into the next section, let's have a look at the chat. What have I missed? All you awesome people have been chatting about. Love geeking out with you. We've got 34 people watching and only 38 thumbs up. Give the video a thumbs up, please. It really helps support Hackful. Really, really appreciate it. Let's have a look. Those of 100s, thank you all so much. Loving people sharing. Prathamesh, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Your first hackathon mentors really helped you out. I love that. Super, super true. And you can learn from everyone, remember that. You know, I love learning from all of you and I think it's super important. So hopefully, Aditya, thank you so much for the positive feedback. I do get really passionate. I usually have like my wife in the background or saying, slow down, Eddie, you're getting too excited. I'm like, okay, but we're running out of time and there's so much I want to share. But, you know, love geeking out with you all. And Siddharth did say if we run a bit over, it's okay. So can geek out for longer. I probably have missed about lots of questions. I'm just trying to scroll through this really quickly and catch up. What types of ideas are accepted in hackathons? You know, it really depends on the hackathon. I think sometimes the craziest ideas do really quite well. But you can speak to the mentors before you fix and settle on an idea. Well, you still want to settle on an idea, you can still pivot later on, but at least they're the foundation and the basis. So do go speak to them and see. I think that's really important. And the idea part is the cheap part. The implementation and how you demo it and how you share it is the important part. Hope I haven't missed too many questions. We're not bored, Eddie. Awesome. Move through, thank you. Oh, excuse me. Move through, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Oh, and Hitesh as well. Loving the support, everyone. You all rock. Okay, write in the chat, awake if you're still awake. Let me know if you're still awake. Yes, and as Siddharth says, write a cue before your question, so hopefully I can see it and don't miss it. So 42 likes. Awesome, thank you all so much for the support. Because if this video does really well, this live stream does really well, they'll probably invite me back. So thank you all so much, it really helps. Awake, got a few people awake. Okay, brilliant. Siddharth's awake. Okay, awesome. Anwar, Rishita, Rohan, hopefully I'm pronouncing these names right, I'm so bad. Prathamesh, Aditya, Vatika, Siddharth, you're going to have to shout these out for you, I'm terrible at names. 505, I'm going to shorten the names, awake, brilliant people. Akesh says, how was my first hackathon? Ooh, that's going back a long time. Probably had dial-up internet back then, and you probably don't even know what dial-up is. Actually, who doesn't know what dial-up is? I'm not going to go into it, but let me know what you know what it is. Like really bad internet speed. You can't do video and screen sharing, let's just say. But lots of people are awake. Krish, how you doing? Awesome to see you here. Great. Okay, thank you so much. What are the GitHub features I can use for my project? We're going to get to that. I'm loving this. You're all guessing what I'm going to say, which is good because that means my talk's on the right topic. So that's awesome. So I'm super happy about that. So we will get to the GitHub features that you should look into, that you should definitely use, and the ones that can make you stand out even further. So we will get to that. But great to see everyone's awake. Really appreciate it. Okay, cool. Right, let me just check. I haven't missed anything in private chat from Siddharth saying, Eddie, shut up, get back to your talk. Okay, brilliant. So one other thing I would like to say is remember to get rest, eat and drink well at the event. A lot of people say you have to work all night, 24 hours, 48 hours. You don't. And to be honest, your work is not going to be that good, your communication is not going to be great, and your presentation is not going to be good. So I would say definitely make sure you get rest. When you get exhausted and you're feeling you're not being productive, it's time to take a break. And hopefully you're in a team that is inclusive and really understands that actually this person, they're kind of, when I get tired, I go too fast. I always go too fast because I get too excited, but I mumble and, some people just say, hey Eddie, time to take a break, go get some rest. And it's about being productive, not about trying to say, hey, I worked 24 hours straight. There's no kind of, badge of honor to just, kill yourself. So it's really important. It's really underrated, but it'll help you achieve more. So someone stole my next topic, how to use GitHub to help your team win. And there's so many benefits, like getting green squares as well. So you do get green squares for raising issues, raising pull requests, commits, etc. and so forth. So many benefits. And most of you are probably familiar with GitHub. And you could be using it even better under these time constraints. Usually under time constraints like hackathons, people cut corners. And it doesn't really help to cut corners. I think you might save some time now, but in the long term, in terms of the hackathon, it's not really going to save some time. So let me run through some features. I might run through it verbally now, and if you want, I can share my screen. I'm definitely going to share my screen, and then actually give you some demos of this so you can actually visually see. Actually, you know what? Let me share my screen now. Okay, Siddharth said in the private chat, you're awesome, so thank you very much. All's going good. Let me share my screen, but then I won't be able to see the chat. Okay, I'll come back to that. Right, so what I was going to say, I'll share my screen in a moment. Let me run through the list, then we can run through it again with my screen. So if the project is remote or in person, I highly recommend treating it the same. So it's really important because not everybody that's seeing your project is going to be there in person. And so many things are running remote now. And they could view it during the event, and they might view it afterwards. I've seen hiring managers go look at hackathon repos and presentations and videos, etc. and so forth, that were done 6 months ago of that person. And actually what is really good, really good, like super bonus tip here, if they can compare two. And what I mean by that is, could they see one from 6 months ago, a year ago, and look at one from a month ago and see that your coding's improved, your communication's improved, how you work on the project, like using issues and pull requests and project boards, which I will show you shortly, has improved. Your presentation skills, that's really important. I know a lot of people don't like presenting, but it's something you have to get a bit better at, unfortunately, because even when you're working on a private project for a job, and you're going to have to present to your team. It might only be 3 or 4 people that you work with every day, but you are going to have to get better at showing them what you've worked on, doing your stand-ups, doing your retrospectives. Are you stuck on something? Is there anything that can be improved, and so forth? So you'll eventually have to do that. So it's really important to demonstrate that you're getting better. And I think it's important to demonstrate not how amazing you are in terms of code, communication, collaboration, storytelling, presentation today. The important thing is that you've improved over time. And to do that, you have to attend multiple hackathons, multiple projects, multiple videos and live streams, etc. and so forth, multiple presentations. So I think that's really, really important to try and do hackathons often-ish, once a month, every other month, however you can do it. Even once a quarter, but do a few per year. You will learn so much and meet so many amazing people. So what I would do is create a repo on GitHub, open source, completely public. Don't wait to make it public later. Make it public from the beginning. And add the entire team as maintainers. Even if some of the team members aren't coders, maybe they're testers, maybe they're project managers, maybe they're whatever they are. Add them to the repo as maintainers, so they've got admin access to the repo from day one. No one is the gatekeeper. Just because you create the repo first doesn't make you in charge or anything like that. Everyone is equal. I think that's really, really important when you have someone kind of trying to say, oh, I'll review the PRs, I'll merge them in, and I'll do this, and it's kind of creates the wrong vibe within the team. So don't set off on the wrong foot, definitely start correctly. There should be no gatekeeping. Doesn't mean you do not have PRs, and actually getting into PRs, I know what you're thinking, Eddie, PRs for hackathons, no time for that. Well, yes and also no, because PRs are not just about reviewing each other's work, but it's also about knowledge transfer and awareness. So I actually recommend using PRs during the hackathon, but just have a quick glance over them. You don't have to review them, line by line. Just have a quick glance to make sure you're aware of the rest of the project. Maybe someone's writing the API part and you're writing the front end, and there's some miscommunication in terms of the data structure, and they're returning something different. And it will just save you having surprises later, trying to debug things later. So I definitely recommend doing PRs and keep them small. And again, this is really important. This is a way to win the hackathon, to impress employers. When I'm reviewing hackathons, yes, I look at the judges' criteria because I do judge hackathons, but I'm also looking which team has collaborated properly, which team has thought of the longevity of this project in terms of, we're going to get to like context, and can people pick up the project later on as well to run with it. I think that's really, really important. There's no point starting from scratch every hackathon, or it just sizzles out and nothing happens after the hackathon. It's great, some of these projects, don't go anywhere, but people learn things and people learn from the projects and the hackathon about it. But it's also great to see some projects go further. So I've seen projects get funding and actually being given, proper mentoring by big companies, get given funding so they can work on it full time and all the rest. So, why not, go big or go home, right? So let me see the chat before I go into it further. Hopefully we're doing good. Okay. Praveen's here. Hi Praveen, how you doing? Thanks for coming to support. I know you're really busy and doing loads of live streams yourself as well. So that's awesome. Okay. We talked about PRs. Hopefully you all agree that PRs have benefits, but we're not going to do line by line reviewing and say, oh, you're missing that comma or whatever it is. Just good enough, definitely, to move forward and get that knowledge transfer. And keep things small. Make sure there's no wires crossed. No one wants to review a massive PR. If you're using create Angular app command or create React, then do an initial commit and push it up often. But push it up so therefore people know that commit was just auto-generated, you haven't coded anything, and then your other work comes in different commits. It's really important. You want less conflicts, and the only way to do that is little and often. You're all pushing and pulling little and often. And to make sure that if you're doing PRs, to make sure that the rest of the team is getting these new changes and additions of features, then it's important that you review the PRs before you complete your feature. And again, that might seem counterintuitive. People might think, well, I'm working on this. My stuff's the most important. Actually, it's not. Anything that's closer to done is more important. So if something's in PR, that takes precedent over what you're working on, because that is almost done to get merged in and add value to the team, reduce conflicts and all the rest. So it's really, really important. Again, like test-driven development, you've got to start at the end and work backwards. And it also shows that no wires crossed, and like I said, reduce conflicts. Make sure you're all pushing in the right direction. There's no point pushing in different directions. You want to push as a team in the same direction. So the same tips applies. Keep them small, little and often. Really, really important. Okay, what else should we go in? I'm just conscious of time. Wow, time has flown by. I'm having so much fun. I haven't done as many questions as I want. Okay, let me skip over this bit. Just looking at my notes now on my other screen. Just going to skip over a few points. Let's have a look. When you do raise a PR, do add a screenshot. Make it easier for the other person to understand what your changes are and so they can get it merged in and so forth. So keep context, and it's really, really important to have context. So how can you make sure you're all pushing as a team in the right direction? Raise issues. And you get a green square for that, which is awesome. And then also put it in the project board, because the project board allows you to prioritize things and have in review and done and all the rest. Again, it's looking like a professional project. And the judges will look at this. So that's really, really important. You'll get the best of both worlds. You don't have to write a huge issue, but give a little bit of context. Don't just say, I don't know, I can't think of an example. Going to create this feature, give a bit of context, like what is that feature going to do? Assign it to someone who's going to work on it. You might get contributors from outside the hackathon, which has happened to me before. I had like 10 contributors contribute to my project during the hackathon, and it was amazing. They really helped us win. And it's an open source project, so you know it's a benefit. And people can discover your projects from your pull requests, because people want to review pull requests. And they are searching on that to help their profiles on GitHub look more rounded, more well professional. And so also on your issues, add labels. And there are GitHub Actions that can add labels, and you can use, if you don't know what labels to create, there are open source standard labels, again, which I want to show you shortly. I think it's really, really important. Get the best of both worlds. So you get the green square, and you're helping your GitHub profile and you're helping the team. That's really, really important. Don't underestimate the value of issues and a couple of lines inside it, not, again, giving a little bit of context. It's really, really important. That's one of my interview questions when I interview for my clients is, does this person give context all the time? Okay, and so this will allow people to pick up your project after the event as well, which I think is important, longevity, right? People can get discovered. I've actually had companies reach out and say, we liked your project that you did at the hackathon, can we use it? Or can we pay to have it? It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna do anything with it. You can have it. Pay me a little bit of money, you can definitely have it. So there's just so many benefits. It's really, really important. You want your project to get discovered, and you want yourself to get discovered. Okay, so let's have a look. How is the chat going and how are we doing on time? Wow. Okay, lots of fires, awesome. Project boards, yes, loving that. How to make our project get monetized by people on GitHub. We can talk about that in a moment, so remember that question. We'll get back to that in a moment. Let's have a look. As someone mentioned before, good README. People's first impression when they come to a repo is the README. And I think it's really, really important to have a basic quick start. What are the goals of the project? Just some really high level stuff. And when you're waiting for your PR to get reviewed, don't just pick up the next feature and try and run with it. And you've got to make sure that they're adding value to the project as a whole, not just from a technical perspective, but from a visibility, from a demo perspective. There are real users and real people that are going to review your project. And I think that's important. And if you want to go that extra mile and impress the judges and impress employers, companies sponsor hackathons, right? And they sponsor it because they want to hire from these hackathons. So let them hire you. And they don't necessarily shout about it, hey, we're hiring, because they'll get loads of people to say, hey, I want a job. They're looking, and they know what they're looking for. So if you want to go that extra mile and impress people, like I said, you set up the project semi-properly, not necessarily perfect, but also use GitHub Actions, use automation. And I'm not saying write actions from scratch, but there are actions already built. And I think that's really, really important. With a few lines of YAML, and I can show you in a moment if you want to see, literally copy and paste from the documentation, stick it in your project, and you'll get the benefits of the GitHub action. And there are over 10, as of today, I actually tweeted this just before the live stream, as of today, there are 10,000 free GitHub actions on the GitHub Actions marketplace. And they do so many things. And I can show you this. And employ, one last tip, because I know I'm really just slightly running over time. Thank you, Siddharth, for the support. I really appreciate it, and everyone else in the chat too. But one last thing I really, really want to say is employers know that in a hackathon, people are short on time, people are stressed, and people are tired. So if you can do good work there, collaborate with people, set up a fairly good open source project on there, not necessarily perfect, good enough just to help people get started, and you can add value, they will think, imagine how much value this person can bring to our project, our team, our community in a condition where they're not so much under pressure, they're not so much tired. So you definitely want to do your best at the hackathon. And remember, do your best is not just about doing those extra lines of code, those extra features, and so forth, but do your best as a team and as a project, because people will want you to do similar things for their company projects and so forth. That's really, really important. Okay, so let's, do I see we have Kushi here? Kushi, you're late. How are you doing, Kushi? Awesome to have you here. Thank you so much for supporting. If you, actually, I want to not give a demo, if that's okay, Siddharth, because I want to see what questions people have, and I can maybe do demos during those questions. I really want to focus on what people want to learn more about, because I could talk about this till tomorrow, and I want people to miss their dinner. I think in IST, you're probably about 7:15 now. I don't want you to miss your dinner. So let's have a look at some questions. Everyone, if I've missed your question, I'm really sorry. Write your question again in the chat. Siddharth will bring it up on the screen, hopefully, and we can see. So yes, Krish, don't bring up the scrap. Highlight the good stuff, not the bad stuff, not the mistakes. That's the bloopers for later. Okay, awesome. Edit up, love it. Thank you all. You can do anything. The stage is all mine. Okay, let's bring up questions. Let's have a look. Okay, so everyone, write your questions in the chat, please. And people are saying demo, so we can go through. Eddie's learned IST. Okay, we can go through stuff. So I won't be able to see the chat while I'm going through stuff. 49 thumbs up. Can we break 50? Has everyone given it a thumbs up? Let's keep going. Okay, demo is not a demo, but I'm going to run through a project. So let me have a look. So let me share my screen. If I hit share, this is where I wish I had a second screen here. It's in my office. Okay, share screen. Oh, maybe I can share a window. Okay, I'll just share entire screen. Here we go. So Siddharth, if you could bring my screen up onto the screen, and we have a bit of screen inception. And then if I go over to here and go to GitHub, and I think we should go to our API project, or we've got loads of projects in EddieHub, and just a kind of self-promo, you can join our EddieHub organization with 13 other people. We've got loads of awesome projects, and because you're all awesome. So I'm just going to pick our API project as an example. I think it has the most GitHub actions on there, that's why. And let me make this a bit bigger. Hopefully that's visible and okay. I'm going to check the chat to make sure there is nothing. 52 likes, you're all awesome. Okay, so this is the project. And again, I treat my hackathon project, my open source projects, everything the same. I was going to say my private projects the same, but I don't have any private projects. So it's important to, when you create the repo, be it a mono repo or whatever it is, make sure you have a description, have a link, first impression. If you've seen my live streams, you hear me say this all the time. If there's features down the side that you're not using, like packages, remove them. You want to only display features that you're using. If you're not using the wiki at the top, remove it. And you can do that in settings. And I would say don't remove releases, use releases. When you are happy with a part of your project, just create a release. This again looks really professional, and you're going to stick in the judge's mind. Judges are going to review lots of projects, even 10. I had to go to a hackathon recently-ish, like I don't know, 6 months ago. I had to review 13 projects, and it was very hard to remember every project at the end are saying, well, that project was pretty good because of this, and I made a note on that project because of this. But the projects that had things that stuck out in my mind, they were always at the forefront of my mind. And I want your projects to be the same. So use releases, use Semver, make it professional. Like I said, the README, super, super important. You know, have what are the requirements, have the installations. If you can use tools like code spaces or Git pods so people can get started with the project, do it. Really, really important. Therefore, maybe the judges can just spin up your project because they're not going to clone it. They're not going to install whatever they need. But they can click Gitpod, can't talk, Gitpod. Time for me to take a break, right? I was talking about taking a break. I'm just conscious of time. I want to share so much value with you all. Or for those of you who are still awake and haven't fallen asleep. You know, add things like Gitpod and so forth. So the other thing I wanted to say was, you know, issues. You can use these labels, and these labels can get created for you. You don't have to spend time creating them. There are GitHub Actions that do it for you. Actually, funny enough, we have one in AnyHub. If you go to workflows, you can go to any project, go to their workflow, .github workflows folder and see what they're doing, but you can see labels. And if you want those labels, you literally can just copy this. And I don't think there is anything you need to change. There isn't one thing you need to change in this because this is generated automatically, and the secrets, that's automatically generated in the GitHub Actions. So you can copy and paste this, and you will get all these labels. And it's important to have these. And if you want people to get involved in your project, do pointing. And I know that's an agile thing and people trying to think of things as time, but someone coming to your project might say, well, I understand what that 3-pointer is, and it's a bit hard for me, so maybe I'll pick a 2-pointer. Doesn't matter how much effort or time the 2-pointer is compared to the 3-pointer. The point is that, pardon the pun, that the 2-pointer is easier than the 3-pointer, and so on. You get the idea. So that's the important thing. So definitely use labels. The other GitHub Actions that I would recommend is you can get releases to automatically create for you. If you do your commit messages with conventional commit messages, and I can show you that in a second, these releases can be created for you. And what I mean by conventional commit messages, you write messages in a certain way, and you write it like this. Is it a chore? And you can optionally, in brackets, put a module in there as well. Let me just check my screen is okay. Still sharing my screen, all is good. You can put the module, you don't have to do that. But the point is that it's either a fix or feat, F-E-A-T, short for feature, colon, and then a bit of the name. And that's the important part, because then the releases get created from that. So if it's a fix, it changes the last number. If it's a feature, it changes the minor number, which is in the middle. And then you can bump the major manually or other ways as well. And if it's docs, it won't, create a release and things like that. And then you can go even further if you want, and you can deploy to certain environments, which is, there's GitHub Actions for these things if you want to deploy to Azure, AWS, Heroku, GitHub Pages. There's actions that do for that, and you just usually specify the path that you want to deploy, and that's it. Let me stop sharing my screen for a moment, and I'm keen to see the chat and see what I've missed. So let's have a look. If I stop sharing for the moment, and let's see the chat or how we're going on. Okay, lots of woes. Okay, good woes. Hopefully that's good. I can't remember what I was saying when you did those at the time. So let's see. I got a conclusion when we finished at the end to do some reminders. So what are some of the questions? 55 thumbs up. You're epic. Let's see if we can get to 60. How to keep up the enthusiasm of a fellow hacker at the hackathon is going on. I would recommend doing the issues, doing the pull requests, little and often, because when things are moving, everyone's motivated. Imagine someone's stuck on a big, massive feature for an entire day. The rest of the team think, what's that person doing? Or what's going on? How can I help? Break things down as small as possible. If an issue and a piece of work takes you 30 minutes, the issue is going to take you like 30 seconds, but the point is it keeps things moving along and people can see that. It keeps people involved, and you can get feedback and ideas on it. It's about communication and collaboration. It's a team sport, and that's really, really important. Okay, let's have a look. What have I missed? Please put your questions back in the chat. I can't scroll up too far. What GitHub Actions can be used? Oh, great question here from Anushka, I hope I pronounced your name right. What GitHub Actions can be used for hackathon projects? I would use, let me see. I would use, start off with, I'm trying to think of order, in order. Do the labels one first, definitely, because you can get that running, it runs straight away. Do the labels one, and then I would, if you've got any scripts, any scripts or commands running in your code base, so for example, when you use Angular or React and you create a project with those things, it creates the script commands in npm, in the package JSON, so you can do npm run linter or run build. Put those on GitHub Actions because they just make sure that every time someone raises a pull request, the formattings are correct. So run linters, run prettier, run those sorts of things. So you're not having discussions about, oh, your formatting is not quite right and all the rest. Or then when someone else on the team's working on the project, they hit save and they've got it set up correctly, and then it all formats, and when they raise a pull request, it looks like they've changed like 1,000 lines of code and they've just changed one, because it causes all this confusion. So it's really important to make sure that you only commit the changes that you want commit. So do check before you commit the files and what's in those files. Super, super important. That goes for Hacktoberfest and any other open source project as well. What else have we got? So really great question with the GitHub Actions, but there are so many. Definitely start with those first. Oh, I have a session with Pauline on Thursday. Awesome. Pauline did a live stream on my channel about Gitpod and it was super interesting. Pauline is so fun. Definitely check out that session. Are we making a chain now? Whoa. Okay. What else have I missed in the chat? Lots of woes. Awesome. Love that. Okay. Any Qs? Don't forget to put Q in the front. Yeah, I think, don't make too many issues. Don't spend like the first morning making a load of issues. I would recommend making, 5 to 10 high-level issues at the beginning of the first day of the hackathon, and then you could start breaking those down. So if, again, we'll take login. I don't think you should do login in a hackathon, but as an example, someone could say log in and sign up. Just issue, done, that's something that needs to be worked on this weekend. And then if someone comes to work on it, they might split it up. One person might do the form, one person might do the back end, because then you could close that issue and then raise 2 more issues and assign those up accordingly. Don't be scared about closing issues and breaking it down into 2, 3, 4 issues. And then again, you could break those down each one. So someone might create a form that is functional and submits the form data to the API, but might look ugly. Then you could create another issue to start the form, because as part of your demo you might think, well, I'm going to focus on functionality, not making it look beautiful and not functional. So don't worry about breaking issues further and further down and delaying some things. It's really important. Let's have a look. 505 asks, is licensing important? Yes, it is. People think it isn't, and it's becoming more and more important. So yes, it is. Choose a license is a great website by GitHub to choose a license, and also I've done a video on licensing as well. You can check out my YouTube channel too. If Siddharth doesn't mind, I'm actually going to share a link to my YouTube channel, and you can all have a look at some of the videos I've done there on open source, but also on licensing. And it is important because if you don't put a license, some people think it's more open source, and other people think it's less open source. Actually, you conform to the GitHub's terms and conditions, which is this kind of weird hybrid. I'd definitely put a license. To be honest, I would go with something very open, like MIT or something like that. Keep it simple, but it is important. Okay, awesome. So what other questions do we have? Question, should we keep our projects public while in the hackathon? So Rishita, yes, public. As soon as you create that repo, select public. There's no reason for any project, to be honest, any project in the world, to be private. Private tokens, private password, private keys is no reason to keep it private, and to keep the project private. To be honest, that is definitely the wrong way to do it, and I'll delete the whole repo if someone did that. So yes, have it public from the beginning, and therefore you're less likely to make mistakes, and you're more likely to get help and more likely to do things properly. Absolutely. Okay, cool. Oh, we've got a question come up on the screen. I've missed that question. Sorry, Siddharth, you are bringing up stuff on the screen, but I was looking at the YouTube chat. My bad. Okay. Kushi, What are my views about GitHub Pages, especially during Hackathon? I love GitHub Pages. I think it's great. I saw someone in the chat mention some other options. To be honest, GitHub Pages is so straightforward, so simple, and it always works for me. Never had a problem. So I use GitHub Pages all the time. I think it's great. And then you can usually have like an npm run build command, and when you use a GitHub action that to deploy to GitHub Pages, you just specify where that build folder is, like build or dist or something like that, and it just deploys and works. So yeah, and then you can add a custom domain as well if you want, really quite easily. Yeah, your name is in 505. Sorry, I wasn't sure what the name was as the chat moves quite fast. Gunit, yeah, see if you can change your name. Krish, don't make the project private if you won't complete it within the time frame. It's part of your growth. People want to see your growth, so I think it's really important to always have everything public. Okay. Yeah, GitHub Pages is just for client-side code. Yes. If you want to do back-end stuff, something like Heroku, I haven't used it in years. Heroku is an option. I haven't used any of the others. And then there's lots of serverless options and so forth. Renamed 404. Awesome. So I'm kind of coming up to an hour, Siddharth. I'm happy to take a few more questions if you want. Hopefully people are still awake. We have 28 people watching, 58 thumbs up. Can we get to 60? 60 thumbs up, come on. And then we can compare it to the other live streams and hopefully we've won. As a team, this is kind of like a mini hackathon. As a team, we've kind of done it together, got more thumbs up, hopefully. Viraj says, question, any tips for beginners who haven't used GitHub collaboration till now in any hackathon? Yes, massive tip. Get started right now. Let me share my screen again, Siddharth, if that's okay. Get started on GitHub today, like literally right now. I know it's probably dinner time for you in IST, but before dinner, do one thing, and after dinner, do 3 things. Let me share my screen and show you. Okay, cool. Share my screen. Hopefully this is going to go good. Right, screen inception, and let me show you. So I was showing you the API project in EdiHub, but we also have another project called Link Free, which is like Linktree, but free. But there's a reason why I'm showing you this. 3 reasons. Well, definitely 2, maybe 3, we will see. So the 2 reasons I'm showing you this is you can contribute to this, like now, and it will get you a green square, get you familiar with creating issues, creating pull requests, because you can add yourself to it. And it gives you, the second reason, it gives you publicity. So let me bring up the website, show you from the front end point of view. So those React people like Praveen will be happy this is built with React. And these are the people who have submitted their profile to it. So if I pick someone, have we got Siddharth here? Let me have a look. Have we got Praveen here? No. We've got Kushi here? No. What is going on? You're all fired. Kushi, you're fired. But I'll just pick a random person who I know, Kunal, and you can see this is their profile, so they can use this custom link, linkfree.edihub.org / their username, and they've got their follow me on GitHub, follow me on Twitter, and so forth. But what I actually want to show you also is if you go to mine, I've just added Polywork milestone stuff. So if I find my profile picture, can anyone see mine? I can't see mine. Did someone delete it? I said, Eddie, delete his. Click on mine. You can see now, I've got the Linktree kind of links at the top, but also I've also got my milestone. So I started freelancing, then I started my YouTube, and I became a GitHub star, and then I became GitHub Star of the Year. And so you can do this for yours. And the reason why I'm saying this is because to add yourself to this, you get a green square, you get an issue, and you raise a pull request. And then I'm going to show you some good first issues that you can add to this project for Hacktoberfest as well. And hopefully you can see the benefits of GitHub. And if you haven't used GitHub, just use it. You can do nothing wrong. Everything is fixable on GitHub. The worst case, if you make a change, like say if you made a change to this, which is a pull request, and you deleted all the files, we'll just say, no thank you, close. And trust me, you will not die, it will not affect your health, and it will not affect anyone else's health. So you can do that. So you go to public, actually, you know what, there's stuff in the README of how to do it. So fork the project, clone the project, navigate into the project you just cloned, install dependencies, npm start to start it. But to add your profile, you create a file, which is your username. I highly recommend keeping this the same as GitHub, in the public data directory. You can add name, bio, and avatar required. And with avatar, you can just add your GitHub URL with .png at the end, and GitHub will fill that in for you. But also you can add links. And then optionally, you can add milestones. But some other features that we want, so let's get some green squares for you and some pull requests, is at the moment we only support GitHub and Twitter and YouTube. So if you added something else like LinkedIn, it would just get filtered out and not displayed in your profile. But we have some issues, some good first issues for those of you who want to get started. I've got to remember where it is. Let me think. Should have checked beforehand. But basically in the links section, oh, not that one, that's CSS, link.js, you can see here it has what's allowed. You can see Instagram's now been added as well as another option. So you could add more, and the only thing you need to check is, because here we go, because when we loop through the links, we do a filter, we check that it exists in this list. If anyone adds any more, it just gets filtered out. But you could add LinkedIn, you could add, I don't know, what else? Other social platforms and stuff to it. But you need to check that there is an icon in the icon pack that matches as well. And maybe there's some limitations, maybe we need to make some improvements. But you can do the easy ones. We are missing some. So we are using, for example, Prime faces, which if I go to, not Prime Eng, if I go to Prime React and get started, you can go to, where's icons? Icons. And then you can search down here for the icons. And I think they have Discord. So they've got a Discord one. So people might want to add to their profile which Discords they belong to. So why don't you add Discord to here, find out what their color is from their website. And now you've got another green square and you've added value. Now people can add Discord. So yes, add your profile and then also make more contributions. But just a note, we're not including adding your profile to a Hacktoberfest contribution, because it's a bit like self-promotion and so forth. But if you add a new social to it, then yes, that is allowed and counts toward Hacktoberfest, because so these are all the people that have been added. You can add yourself here. Remember, the name of your JSON file becomes your username in the URL. So yeah, and we're using releases for this, so you can see the releases that I spoke about with the GitHub Actions. These releases are getting created all the time and automatically deployed out. So the last release was yesterday and it's 0.21.2. So deployed on the website, it should be exactly the same. Let me go back a page, 0.21.2, exactly the same. So the GitHub action keeps it all in sync and updates this so we know that if it's been deployed or not and so forth. So hopefully that helps on getting you started on GitHub. And if you want to practice some more as well, you can just add your name to a README. It won't count towards Hacktoberfest, but we have Hacktoberfest practice, and you can add your name to the list here alphabetically, and you can practice the workflow of forking the project. But if you want to get more into the coding side, do look at our EddieBot repo, which we use in our Discord, our API, and the link free that I mentioned as well. Let me check the chat and see how things are going. I'll stop sharing for the moment and see. Okay. Krish, I had 100 platforms today. Don't add too many. Add some of the harder ones, because I know you're an expert, and leave some of the easier ones for other people. So yeah, remember to share the green squares. I want all of you to be successful, and we can all succeed together as a team. Yes, Arthavar, have I pronounced your name right? You're also fired if you're not in our link free project. Cool. What did I see? Oh, I see convince him. Oh, what people are getting convinced about. Let's see. Definitely creating a pull request today. Link free is awesome. Yeah, you can use it. So you can use it in your profile. Hey, if you want to see mine, I will share mine. So mine will be link free. Let me share it in the chat, and hopefully all of you can see it. So my link free profile. And I'll share the link in the chat. So you can see it and you can add your own, completely free and open source. Okay. Yeah, 3 of you all got fired in once. 3 people got fired in one go. Yes, Praveen, are you using that Blue Yeti mic I gave you? You never use it. I want it back now. You don't use it. Let's send it to someone who's going to make more use out of it. What else do we have in the chat? Okay, I don't think I've missed too much in the chat, I don't think. Yes, and don't forget, if you add the issues in open source projects, you're not necessarily the one who's creating the pull request. So if you've got an idea, you've got a question, raise the issue, and worst case it gets closed. But also if you want to raise pull requests, have a look at some issues that have been raised already, and that might save you trying to think of ideas and so forth. Any tips for finding teammates at the hackathon? I would find out what the hackathon is doing to encourage conversations and share some of your ideas that you have about the hackathon, about the projects you want to build, about the technologies you want to use, and let people gravitate around that. And then therefore, if you're all passionate about some part of the puzzle of your team and project, as in they're using a technology they want to learn more about, or you're trying to solve an amazing problem in a certain way, and they're passionate about that, your team will do so much better. Krish, you'll have to check Prime React for list of available icons. They have an icon section, so you have to have a look and see. How to find the perfect team for a hackathon? Mixed. Don't all be JavaScript developers, for example. I think you need a mix of people. Someone who wants to focus more on the UI, someone who wants to focus on the backend, someone who wants to focus more on the presentation and documentation, all that sort of stuff, because we're not the end users of our products. Other people are. So you need that different perspective, and trust me, it adds so much value. Really does. That VR hackathon, the following 5 hackathons, I won 6 hackathons in a row. And that was because we had a diverse team that focused on different things. So when it came to the presentation, you know what coders are like? We're coding up until the last minute. You got 5 minutes. They're like announcing, you got 5 minutes. And you're like, shit, come on, build this new feature. I broke it, conflict. But you need time to do the presentation, to think about the user, to think about your delivery. And so if you've got someone who can start on that from day one, you're going to win. I went to a hackathon that was about UX, and wow, was it very different. All they thought about was the user and the presentation and work backwards. And so I think definitely meet in the middle and learn from that. Prathamesh, how much has GitHub changed since I started using it? So much. Like GitHub now is really hard to understand as a new person. I think GitHub is, don't get me wrong, they do an amazing job of making it easy to understand. But when you first come to it, there is so much. You know the tabs on the top where you have like code, issues, what else do you have? Pull requests, project boards. There was nothing when I started joining. It was literally just like what you see on that first page, the README and the file list. There was nothing else. And it's evolved so much. That's actually why I'm thinking of doing like the ultimate GitHub course. I'm thinking of building that over the next couple of months because I think there was just so much to learn, and it's changing all the time on GitHub. So I'd love to get your feedbacks and suggestions on that and what to include and so forth. Energy, yeah, I'm always excited. If I'm open source and geeking out with you amazing people, I'm super happy, so that's great. Okay, awesome. I think it's probably a good place to stop. You've probably all fallen asleep. We've got 65 thumbs up. That's amazing, thank you so much. Let me just do a quick conclusion on what we've learned today. And don't forget, you should all do a conclusion and share it on socials and tag me so I can reshare it. So therefore we both benefit from it. So cutting corners doesn't help, and think of the long-term benefits, not the swag, and then the swag will come. I get so much swag. I've got this from, probably saw from my Twitter, like everyone keeps sending me like cordless headphones and Stream Decks, and oh my God, I've got so much swag, and GitHub Octocats and all the rest. So much swag, but I'm not focusing on the swag. I think if people focus on the swag, they don't get it. So focus on improving, collaborating, communicating, and the swag will just come. I think that's just so important. And other things will come in terms of job offers, all the rest. Remember, for the hackathon, your project just needs to be good enough. Much better than perfect. Good enough is better than perfect. And if you want to learn more about open source and hackathons, freelancing, digital nomad life, etc., then follow me on Twitter and YouTube. I'm going to be sharing more behind the scenes on that. And actually, there are some challenges with digital nomad life. I've got a tweet I think going to go out tomorrow, scheduled it for tomorrow, where we're looking at places to stay in Bali for the winter as a digital nomad. And Sarah wants near the beach or with a pool, and I'm like, needs good internet. I need to live stream. So I've got two different like main criterias, and unfortunately, the ones near the beach don't have good internet. So yes, we're working on that. So there's some challenges. I'm going to share some of those behind the scenes. Let me know. I have so much content to go out. I only share about 40% of it. Let me know what you would like to see, and I'd just love to share more of it with you that can hopefully help you go freelancing, win hackathons, get into open source, get the job you want, get the money you want, start a YouTube channel, whatever you want. I'm here, and I want to help help you all with it. And it helps me when you all engage. It helps me grow. When you give my videos a thumbs up, or you like a tweet, or you retweet it, or you just put a comment in, or give me feedback. Like, I love comments on my YouTube video, or replies to my tweets, questioning further. Well, what does this mean? Can you explain more? Have you thought about this? That adds value to me, because then I get to think of it from your perspective. So I'm always learning all the time, and I really appreciate you taking the time to join us on this live stream. And so I do a face so you can all take a screenshot and share it on Twitter. Hopefully you take some screenshots, share some things that you learn that add value on socials, and I'll retweet it as well. And hopefully it can help you grow too. Thank you so much, all of you. It's been an hour and 10 minutes, and I'm sure half of you are asleep already, but it's been great. I've had fun. Hopefully you've had fun too. Write fun in the chat if you're still awake and you've had fun today. Siddharth, are you there? Hello. Siddharth's fallen asleep. Oh, he's there.
Yes,
Okay,
I'm
cool.
there. How could I fall asleep, when there's something so much of interesting going on just in front of my eyes?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No, but indeed, it was indeed a wonderful. I have always like heard you like so many times, but every time I hear you once again, I feel like I'm hearing something new, something exciting, and the excitement never goes down.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I think that's true. And I'm glad you said that, because I do tweak and change my talks each time, because I get feedback, the questions from people here in the chat has helped me learn. And I'm going to make some mental notes, and I'm going to tweak it for next time. And when they, share some things on Twitter, they might write it a bit differently. And I'll think, oh, they shared that tip, but I didn't quite phrase it like that. I want to phrase it like that next time, because that helped me, and so forth. So I think we're all here to share and learn and help each other. So I love that. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Definitely, we all are learning, and improvising every day, every moment is definitely a key. And thanks a lot for sharing all of those insights. I see chat is like super amazing. Thanks a lot, everyone, for being super interactive and appreciating each other, asking questions, and everything else in between. Super, super. Thanks a lot to everyone. Let's have a look if we still have any more question. Uh,
Oh, I love this one.
chat.
Gunit. Now my dream is not Fang, it's GitHub Star. Freaking love it. Yes, I mean, the best decision I made just over 10 years ago when I started open source was to go freelancing. And I had worked for about 5 years in a company, in quite a few big companies, but and some startups as well, actually. But going freelancing for me was life-changing, game-changing. I could pick my projects, I could pick how much I earn. If I didn't want that project, but I didn't have much work on, I could charge more. And if they went for it, I got more, but it wasn't exciting. Or I could work on that technology, and I could work on that exciting project because I wanted to. And I love that. So open source will really, really help you accelerate your career. Because like I said, you're going to learn so many things in addition to coding, and to get yourself out there. Remember, GitHub's a social platform, and more companies are looking on that. I mean, Facebook and Google and GitHub all contacted me to offer me jobs through GitHub. And all the clients I get are through GitHub. And so make sure you're active on there. I always say it's like brushing your teeth, little and often. If you miss a couple of days, your teeth aren't going to fall out and your GitHub profile's not going to die. But just try and, it's not impressive when someone says, hey, I'm applying for this job, and I went to a hackathon last week. I got like 200 commits in last weekend, but they have nothing the rest of the year. That doesn't impress me. Actually, that looks really negative, in fact. So little and often. It doesn't need to be big. It just needs to add value.
Yeah, definitely. Probably I need to work on my green square game because I have been quite inactive over there. So I'll do
What?
the needful.
You're fired again.
Yeah, I'll do the
Right,
needful, and then I'll
twice.
report you, and then most probably you'll hire me back again.
Awesome. Don't forget, add your profile to the link free project. You'll
Link
get
free,
some green
definitely,
squares. Awesome.
for sure.
I've seen.
But can't stop listening to Eddie. Mrunang, well said. Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm looking at the chat. It's going so fast. You're all awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
And on top of that, I do have one announcement as well.
Sure.
In every live stream we do HTF swag giveaway, and I do know who is the winner from this particular live stream. Let me quickly announce the name, and the winner is Anushka Raj. Congratulations, Anushka. Make sure you
Awesome.
DM me on Discord for further steps. We love your enthusiasm and excitement in the chat, and that's why this is just a medium of appreciation which we do in every live stream.
Love that. That's great. So what do they have to do to win so other people can learn for next time? And what do they win?
They just have to be as much as interactive as possible, asking
Awesome.
questions, helping each other out, being active on social media, sharing their learnings and takeaways, and many more other than that, which you can do. And
Perfect.
if our eyes picks you up, you won it, and you'll be winning HTS swag. So it will be delivered at your doorstep. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
Awesome. Sounds exciting. Looking forward to seeing the pictures on socials as well when it arrives.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. As of now, I do not see any questions, but only appreciations for you, Eddie. Thanks a lot for being a wonderful speaker, like always. And I know you have been there with us since season one, and you do not need any invitation to join us at Hack This Fall. You can come and join us anytime and every time you want.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's always fun to geek out with you all.
Awesome, wonderful. Thanks a lot, Eddie. I'll move you backstage now and conclude the stream then.
Sure. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye, everyone. Why would I say bye? I'm still here over here, but it's just I'm so like amazed by all the insights which Eddie shared. So I'm losing up my words right now. But thanks everyone for joining in. It has been a super interactive stream yet another time, but this time this was one of the special one because I'm quite looking forward to Eddie for all of these open source contribution. GitHub Hacktoberfest is coming up. Make sure you stay tuned for that, and so many things altogether. If you haven't joined Eddie Hub yet, there's a link there in the description. Make sure you check that out and join Eddie Hub as well. Link free, amazing projects which were shared in the stream by Eddie. So make sure you check those out as well. And let me quickly share, if you haven't registered for Hack This Fall, do it right away. We are just 25 people behind reaching 1600 registrations, and I do not, I can't see you missing all of those opportunities which we have we have up in our store for you all people. So make sure you register. If you haven't checked our schedule yet, we still have two more speaker sessions. One by our diamond sponsors, Filebase, coming up tomorrow. One from Pauline from Gitpod, which is day after tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned and join us for there as well. Join us on Discord if you haven't yet. We have HTF Connect every Wednesday at 9 p.m. IST where we interact with our community members, share our ideas, share our learnings, and appreciate each other. So make sure you join us there as well. If you're a swag lover, just like me, head over to our swag page, grab yourself some awesome swags from Hack This Fall swag page over there. And that would be, I guess, pretty much enough from me. I'll also quickly share a feedback form link in the chat for you to fill out, and you'll be earning certificates from this particular live stream. That was pretty much from my end. Don't forget to share about this on social media, tag Eddie, tag Hack This Fall, and share your learning so that you can add value to the community as well at the same time. Enough from me. I'll take a leave. Thanks everyone for joining. See you in our upcoming sessions.